Chapter 4 The Women. With name of the God, the Almighty, the Merciful. O you, the mankind, fear your Lord, the one who created you from soul one, and created from her, her spouse, and spread from them both men many and women, and fear the God, the one who will question you with it, and the wombs. Surely the God is over you watching. And bring the orphans their wealth, and don't you be changing the wicked with the good, and don't you eat their wealth to your wealth. Surely it is a mistake great. And if you fear, surely not you just in the orphans, but marry what turn to you from the women, 2 and 3 and 4. But if you fear, surely not you just, but one, or what control your covenants. That closer, surely not you be high. And bring the women their truths promised. But if they turn to you over a thing from it themselves, but eat it happily, merrily. And don't you bring the foolish your wealth, which makes the God to you standing, and sustain them in her, and clothe them, and say to them sayings good, and test the orphans till when they reach the marriage. But if you sense from them conscientiousness, but push back to them their wealth, and don't you eat her, trespassing and wronging, that they get old, and one who is self-sufficient, but let him pass over, and one who is poor, but let him eat with the goodness. But when you push back to them their wealth, but be witnessing over them, and enough with the God account. To the men a portion from what leave the 2 parents and the close ones, and to the women a portion from what leave the 2 parents and the close ones, from what little from it or much, a portion made acceptable. And when presents the division with the close ones, and the orphans, and the poor, but sustain them from it, and say to them sayings good, and let them fear those, if they leave from behind them progeny weak, they fearing over them, but let them fear the God, and let them say sayings straight. Surely those, they eat wealth of the orphans wrongly, surely what they eat into their stomachs fire, and soon they thrown fire. He ordains you, the God, in your children, to the male example of portion of the 2 females. But if be women above 2, but to them 2/3 of what left. And if she be 1, but to her the half, and to his 2 parents, to each one from them both, the 6th from what left. If be to him children, but if not it be to him children, and inherit him his 2 parents, but to his mother the 3rd. But if be to him siblings, but to his mother the 6th. From after ordainment, he ordains with her, or debt. your parents and your sons, not you understand which of them closer to your benefit. Acceptance from the God. Surely the God is knowledgeable, wise. And to you, half of what leave your spouses, if not it be to them, children, but if be to them, children, but to you the fourth from what they leave. From after ordainment, they ordain with her, or debt, and to them the fourth from what you leave, if not it be to you, children, but if be to you, children, but to them the eighth from what you leave. From after ordainment, you ordain with her, or debt, and if be a man, he inherited heirless, or a woman, and to him a brother or a sister, but to each one from them both the sixth. But if they be more from that, but they partners in the third, from after ordainment, he ordains with her, or debt, other than wronging, ordainment from the God, and the God knowledgeable, forbearing. These limits of the God, and one, he obeys the God and his messengers, he will admit him, gardens flowing from beneath them the rivers, living perpetually in them, and that the achievement, the great. And one, he disobeys the God and his messengers, and he transgresses his limits, he will admit him fire, living perpetually in her, and to him punishment lowly. And those, they bring the lewdness from your women, but ask to witness over them, four from you. But if they witness, but stop them in the homes, till it takes them away, the death, or he makes, the God, to them a path. And the two men, they bring her from you, but hurt them both. But if they both turn, and they both right, but turn away over them both, surely the God is turner, merciful. Surely what the turning over the God to those, they do the evils with ignorance, then they turn from near. But those, he turns, the God, over them, and is the God knowledgeable, wise. And not the turning to those, they do the evils, till when presents one of them the death, he says, surely I turn now, and not those, they die, and they rejecters. Those, we prepare to them punishment grievous. O you, those who believe, not it allowed to you that you inherit the women hating, and don't you wrong them to your going away with some of what you brought them, except that they come with lewdness clear, and enthrone them with the goodness. But if you hate them, but maybe that you hate a thing, and he makes, the God, in it good much. And if you intend changing a spouse, place of a spouse, and you brought one of them a treasure, but don't you take from it a thing, are you going to take it, an enormity, an evil clear? And how can you take it, and have gone some of you to others, and they took from you a promise strict? And don't you marry what married your fathers from the women, accept what has passed. Surely it is lewdness and hated and evil path. Disallowed over you your mothers and your daughters and your sisters and your paternal aunts and your maternal aunts and daughters of the brother and daughters of the sister and your mothers which suckled you and your sisters from the suckling and mothers of your women and your adopted daughters, those in your dwellings from your women, which you entered with them. But if not you be entering with them, but no issue over you, and allowed your sons, those from your backs, and that you join between the two sisters, accept what has passed. Surely the God is forgiving, merciful. And the chaste women from the women, accept what control your covenants, writes the God over you, and allowed to you what around that to you, that you seek with your wealth, chaste other than unchaste. So what you enjoy with it from them, but bring them their rewards accepted, and no issue over you in what you happy with it from after the acceptance. Surely the God is knowledgeable, wise, and one, not he capable from you extension, that he marry the chaste women, the believing women, but from what control your covenants, from your servant women, the believing women, and the God aware with your covenants, some of you from others. So marry them with will of their keepers, and bring them their rewards with the goodness, chaste other than unchaste, and not taking affairs. So when they chaste, but if they come with lewdness, but over them half what over the chaste women from the punishment, that to one who fears the falling down from you, and that you be patient, better to you, and the God forgiving, merciful. He wants the God to his clarifying to you and his guiding you methods of those from before you, and he turns over you, and the God knowledgeable, wise, and the God, he wants that he turn over you, and they want those, they follow the desires, that they attacking great. He wants the God that he lighten over you, and creation of the man weak. O you, those who believe, don't you eat your wealth between you with the wrong, except that it be business over happiness from you. And don't you fight yourselves. Surely the God is with you merciful. And one, he does that, opposing and wronging, but soon we will throw him fire. And is that over the God easy? If you push away greater of what you stopped over it, we will reject over you your evils, and we will admit you entrance honored. And don't you desire what graces the God with it, some of you over others? To the men a portion from what they earn, and to the women a portion from what they earn. And ask the God from his grace. Surely the God is with everything knowledgeable. And to all we make inheritors from what leave the two parents and the close ones, and those who not your covenants, but bring them their portion. Surely the God is over everything witness. The men constant over the women, with what graces the God, some of them over others, and with what they spend from their wealth. But the righteous women, devout women, guarding women to the unseen, with what guards the God. And those you fear their slipping, but instruct them, and push them away in the beds, and strike them. But if they obey you, but don't you seek over them a path, surely the God is high, great. And if you fear splitting between them both, but bring out a judge from his keepers, and a judge from her keepers, if they both want righting, he will make togetherness the God between them both. Surely the God is knowledgeable, aware. And serve the God, and don't you partner with him a thing. And with the two parents, goodness, and with the close ones, and the orphans, and the poor, and the traveler with the closeness, and the traveler on the side, and the companion with the responsibility, and on the path, and what control your covenants. Surely the God, not he loves one who is boastful, proud. Those, they miserly, and they command the mankind with the miserliness, and they hide what brings them the God from his grace. And we prepare to the rejectors punishment lowly. And those, they spend their wealth to be seen of the mankind, and not they believe with the God and not with the day, the later. And one, he be, the Satan, to him a close one, but evil close one. And what over them, if they believe with the God, and the day, the later, and they spend from what sustains them the God, and is the God with them knowledgeable? Surely the God, not he wrongs example of a dot, and if she be good, he adds her, and he brings from his side a reward great. But how, when we bring from every people with a witness, and we bring with you over these a witness, during that day they will want those who rejected and disobeyed the messengers, if she shapes with them the earth, and not he will hide the God a story. O you, those who believe, don't you near the prayer, and you intoxicated, till you know what you say, and not impure, except treading path, till you wash. And if you be sick, or over travel, or comes any one from you from the relieving, or you touch the women, but not you find fluid, but you be seeking sand good, but pass with your faces and your hands. Surely the God is passing over, forgiving. Do not you look to those, they brought portion from the book, they purchasing the astrayness, and they wanting that you stray the path, and the God aware with your enemies, and enough with the God inheritance, and enough with the God help. From those who choose, they change the word over its placing, and they say, we listen and we disobey, and hear other than heard, and see us, twisting with their tongues, and confusing in the way. And if they surely, they say, we listen and we obey, and listen and look at us, to be better to them, and firmer. And but curses them the God with their rejection, but not they believe, except a little. O you, those brought the book, believe with what we send down, confirming to what with you. From before that we blot faces, but we turn them over their backs, or we curse them like what we cursed companions of the Sabbath, and is command of the God to be fulfilled. Surely the God, not he forgives that they partner with him, and he forgives what other than that to one he wishes, and one he partners with the God, but has invented evil great. Do not you look to those, they purify themselves, but the God, he purifies one he wishes, and not they wronged slightest. Look how they invent over the God the falsehood, and enough with it, evil clear. Do not you look to those, brought portion from the book, they believe with the superstitions and the transgressions, and they say to those who reject, these better guided from those who believe a path. They, those, curses them the God, and one, he curses the God, but not will you find to him a helper, or to them portion from the kingship, but then not they would bring the mankind a speck. Or they envy the mankind over what brings them the God from his grace. But already we brought family of Abraham the book and the wisdom, and we brought them kingdom great. But from them one who believes with him, and from them one who stops over him, and enough with hell fire. Surely those who reject with our signs, soon we will throw them fire. All of what scalds their skins, we will change them skins other than those, to their tasting the punishment. Surely the God is mighty, wise. And those who believe and do the righteousness, soon we will admit them, gardens flowing from beneath them the rivers, living perpetually in them forever. To them in them spouses pure, and we will admit them shades shaded. Surely the God, he commands you that you return the safekeeps to their keepers, and when you judge between the mankind, that you judge with the justice. Surely the God favors, he instructs you with it. Surely the God is listener, watcher. O you, those who believe, obey the God, and obey the messengers, and those with the command from you. But if you dispute in a thing, but turn it to the God and the messengers. If you believing with the God and the day, the later, that better and good explanation. Do not you look to those they fancy, surely they believe with what sent down to you, and what sent down from before you. They want that they judge to the transgressions, and have they commanded that they reject with it. And he wants, the Satan, that he make them astray, astrayness far. And when said to them, come to what sends down the God, and to the messengers, you see the hypocrites, they stopping over you, stopping. But how, when comes to them a calamity, with what send forth their hands, then they come to you, they swearing with the God, if we intended, accept goodness and togetherness. Those, he knows, the God, what in their hearts, but turn away over them, and instruct them, and say to them in their souls, a saying reaching, and not we send from messenger, except to his being obeyed with will of the God. And if surely they, behold, they wrong their souls, they come to you, but ask forgiveness of the God, and will ask forgiveness to them, the messengers, to be finding the God, turner, merciful. But not, and your Lord, not will they believe, till they make you judge in what crops between them. Then not will they find in their souls problem from what you decide, and they make peace acceptingly. And if surely we wrote over them that, fight yourselves, or get out from your homes, not they would do it, except a few from them. And if surely they did what they instructed with it, to be better to them, and severer strength, and then to our bringing them from our side a reward great, and to our guiding them a highway constant. And one, he obeys the God and the messengers, but they with those favors the God over them from the prophets, and the truthful, and the witnesses, and the righteous, and good those, a togetherness. That the grace from the God, and enough with the God knowledge. O you, those who believe, take your warnings, but run strong, or run together. And surely from you to be one, to his surely lagging behind. But if comes to you calamity, he says, has favored the God over me, behold, not I was with them, a witness. And if comes to you grace from the God, to his surely saying, like that not it be between you and between him love, Oh, woe to me, was I with them, but I would achieve an achievement great. But let them fight in path of the God, those they sell the life of the world with the hereafter. And one, he fights in path of the God, but he killed, or he overcome, but soon we will bring him a reward great. And what do you, not you fight in path of the God, and the weak from the men, and the women, and the children, those they saying, Our Lord, take us out from this, the city, the wrongdoing keepers of her, and make to us from your side an inheritor, and make to us from your side a helper. Those who believe, they fight in path of the God, and those who reject, they fight in path of the transgressors. But fight protectors of the Satan. Surely plan of the Satan is weak. Do not you look to those, said to them, Stop your hands, and make constant the prayer, and bring the purity. But when written over them the fight, when a group from them, they fear the mankind, like fear of the God, or severer fear, and they say, Our Lord, why you wrote over us the fight? Why not you delay us to a term close? Say, sustenance of the world little, and the hereafter better to one pious, and not will you be wronged slightest. Where what you be, it will overtake you, the death, and if you be in a constellation covered, and if she comes to them, good, they say, this from within the God. And if she comes to them, evil, they say, this from within you. Say, all from within the God. But what these, the people, not they can, they comprehend a story. What comes to you from good, but from the God, and what comes to you from evil, but from your soul. And we sent you to the mankind a messenger, and enough with the God witnessing. One, he obeys the messengers, but has obeyed the God, and one turns away, but not we sent you over them a guard. And they say, obedience, but when they march from within you, plan nightly a party from them, other than what you say. And the God, He writes what they plan nightly. So turn over them, and trust over the God, and enough with the God disposing. Will but not they ponder the Quran, and if was from within other than the God, to be finding in it contradictions many. And when comes to them command from the security or the fear, they hurt with it. And if they turned it to the messenger and to those with the command from them, to be knowing it, those they established it from them. And if not grace of the God over you and His mercy, to your following the Satan, except a few. But fight in path of the God, not you burdened, except your soul, and stir the believers, maybe the God, that He stops war of those who reject, and the God severe war, and severe example. 1. He intercedes, intercession good, it be to him, portion from her. And 1. He intercedes, intercession evil, it be to him, part from her, and is the God over everything fixed. And when you saluted with salutations, but salute with better from them, or return them, surely the God is over everything a counter. The God, no God except He, to His surely gathering you to day of the standing, no doubt in it. And who more truthful from the God telling? But what to you in the hypocrites, two troops, and the God will clothe them with what they earn. Do you want that you guide one makes astray the God, and one he makes astray the God, but not will you find to him a path? They want if you reject like what they reject, but you be equal. But don't you take from them protectors till they immigrate in path of the God. But if they turn back, but grab them and fight them where you find them, and don't you take from them inheritors and not helpers, except those they joining to people between you and between them a pact, or they come to you difficult their chests that they fight you, or they fight their people. And if wishes the God to be establishing them over you, but they would fight you. So if they push you away, but not they fight you, and they throw to you the peace, but not makes the God to you over them a path, soon you will find others they want that they covenant you, and they covenant their people. All of what they turned to the trial, they clothe in her. So if not they push you away, and they throw to you the peace, and they stop their hands, but grab them, and fight them where you capture them. And those to you, we make to you over them authority clear. And not is to a believer that he kill a believer except faulting, and one who kills a believer faulting, but free captives believing, and paying made whole to his keepers, except that they make truth. But if was from people enemy to you, and he a believer, but free captives believing, and if was from people between you and between them a pact, but paying made whole to his keepers, and freeing captives believing. But one not he finds, but fast 2 months consecutively, turning from the God, and is the God knowledgeable, wise. And one, he kills a believer forcefully, but his repaying hell, living perpetually in her, and anger of the God over him, and curses him, and prepares to him punishment great. O you, those who believe, when you strike in path of the God, but you be clarifying, and don't you say to one who throws to you the peace, not you a believer, you seeking turning of the life of the world, but with the God bounties many, like that you were from before, but favored the God over you. So you be clarifying. Surely the God is, with what you do, aware. Not they equal, the sitters from the believers, other than with the bad times, and the strugglers in path of the God, with their wealth and their souls. Grace is the God, the strugglers, with their wealth and their souls, over the sitters, ranks, and all promises the God, the good. And grace is the God, the strugglers, over the sitters, reward great. Ranks from Him, and forgiveness, and mercy, and is the God, forgiving, merciful. Surely those take them away the angels, wronging their souls. They say, in what were you? They say, we were weak in the earth. They say, was not she was, earth of the God, ample, but you immigrate in her. But those, there abode hell, and she evil end. Except the weak from the men, and the women, and the children, not they capable of barrier, and not they guided a path. But those may be the God that He passes over them, and is the God passing over, forgiving. And one he immigrates in path of the God, he will find in the earth bounties many and amplitude. And one he goes out from his home, immigrating to the God and His messengers. Then it overtakes him, the death, but has occurred his reward over the God, and is the God forgiving, merciful. And when you strike in the earth, but not over you, issue, that you shorten from the prayer, if you fear that they will try you, those who reject. Surely the rejectors, they are to you enemies clear. And when you are in them, but you make constant to them the prayer, but you stand a party from them with you, and let them take their weapons. So when they prostrate, but let them be from behind you, and let it come, party other, not they praying, but let them pray with you, and let them take their warning and their weapons. Want those who reject, if you oblivious over your weapons and your sustenance. But they attack over you, attacking one, and no issue over you, if is with you hurt from rain, or you are sick, that you lay down your weapons, and take your warnings. Surely the God prepares to the rejectors a punishment lowly. So when you finish the prayer, but remember the God, standing and sitting, and over your sides. But when you are tranquil, but make constant the prayer, surely the prayer is over the believers, written, fixed. And don't you stop in seeking the people. If you be, you hurting, but surely they hurting like what you hurting. And you expect from the God what not they expect. And is the God knowledgeable, wise? Surely we send down to you the book with the truth, to your judging between the mankind with what shows you the God. And don't you be to the betrayers a disputer. And ask forgiveness of the God. Surely the God is forgiving, merciful. And don't you dispute over those they betraying their souls. Surely the God, not he loves one who is a betrayer evil. They hide from the mankind, and not they hide from the God, and he with them. Behold, they plan nightly what not he likes from the saying, and is the God with what they do encompassing. O you, these, you dispute over them in the life of the world, but who? He will dispute the God over them, day of the standing, or who? He will be over them disposer. And one, he does evil, or he wrongs his soul, then he asks forgiveness of the God. He will find the God forgiving, merciful. And one, he earns evil, but surely what he earns it over his soul, and is the God knowledgeable, wise. And one, he earns fault or evil, then he frees with it, freeing, but has carried enormity and evil clear. And if not grace of the God over you and his mercy, to be coming a party from them, that they make you astray, and not they will make astray except their souls, and not will they wrong you from a thing, and sends down the God over you the book and the wisdom, and teaches you what not you were, you knowing, and is grace of the God over you great. Not good in much from their meetings, except one who commands with truth, or goodness, or righteousness between the mankind. And one, he does that, seeking happiness of the God, but soon we will bring him reward great. And one, he resists the messengers from after what you clarify to him the guidance, and he follows other than path of the believers. We will turn him what turns, and we will throw him hell, and she evil end. Surely the God, not he forgives that they partner with him, and he forgives what other than that to one he wishes, and one he partners with the God, but has strayed straying far. If they call from other than him, except females, and if they call, except Satan turned. Curses him the God, and he says, to my surely taking from your servants a portion accepted, and to my surely making them astray, and to my surely making them desire, and to my surely commanding them, but to their surely cutting ears of the animals, and to my surely commanding them, but to their surely changing creation of the God. And one, he takes the Satan, an inheritor from other than the God, but has lost a losing clear. He promises them, and he makes them desire, and not he promises them, the Satan, except deception. those there abode hell, and naught will they find over her escape. And those who believe and do the righteousness, soon we will admit them, gardens flowing from beneath them the rivers, living perpetually in them forever. Promise of the God true, and who more truthful from the God saying, not with your safekeeping, and not safekeeping of keepers of the book. One, he does evil, he repaid with it, and not will he find to himself from other than the God an inheritor and not helper. And one, he does from the righteousness, from male or female, and he a believer. But those, they will enter the garden, and not will they be wronged a speck. And who better way from one who submits his face to God, and he beneficent, and follows nation of Abraham true, and took the God Abraham a friend. And to God what in the heavens, and what in the earths, and is the God with everything encompassing. And they consult you in the women, say, the God, he counsels you in them, and what it read over you in the book in orphans, the women, those, not you bring them what written to them, and you inclining that you marry them, and the weak from the children, and that you stand to the orphans with the justice, and what you do from good, but surely the God is with it knowledgeable. And if a woman, she fears from her husband slipping or turning, but no issue over them both, that they both write between them both, writing, and the writing better, and she presents the soul, the desire, and if you beneficent, and you fear, but surely the God is with what you do aware, and not you capable, that you be just between the women, and if you anxious, but don't you run all the running, but you leave her like the hanging, and if you write, and you fear, but surely the God is forgiving, merciful. And if they both separate, he will suffice, the God, both from his amplitude, and is the God ample, wise. And to God what in the heavens, and what in the earths, and already we ordained those brought the book from before you, and to you, that fear the God, and if you reject, but surely to God what in the heavens, and what in the earths, and is the God self-sufficient, praised, and to God what in the heavens, and what in the earths, and enough with the God disposing. If he wishes, he will take you away, O you, the mankind, and he will come with others, and is the God over that powerful. One who is, he wanting paying of the world, but with the God, paying of the world, and the hereafter, and is the God listening, watching. O you, those who believe, be constant with the justice, witnesses to God, and if over yourselves, or the two parents, and the close ones, if he be self-sufficient or beggar, but the God first with them both. So don't you follow the thought that you be just, and if you twist or you turn away, but surely the God is with what you do, aware. O you, those who believe, believe with the God and his messengers, and the book, the one sent down over his messenger, and the book, the one sent down from before, and one he rejects with the God and his angels and his books and his messengers, and the day, the later, but has strayed a straying far. Surely those who believe, then they reject, then they believe, then they reject, then they add rejection, not he will be the God to his forgiving to them, and not to his guiding them a path. Inform the hypocrites with surety to them a punishment grievous. Those, they take the rejectors, protectors from other than the believers. Are they seeking with them the honor? But surely the honor to God altogether. And has come down over you in the book, that when you hear signs of the God, they reject with them, and they mock with them. But don't you sit with them till they vainglory in story other than it. Surely you then, their example, surely the God will gather the hypocrites and the rejectors in hell altogether. Those, they wait with you, but if is to you opening from the God, they say, were not we were with you? And if is to the rejectors a portion, they say, did not we overcome over you, and we stopped you from the believers? But the God, he will judge between you, day of the standing, and not will he make the God to the rejectors over the believers a path. Surely the hypocrites, they betray the God, and he betrays them. And when they stand to the prayer, they stand lazy, they seen of the mankind, and not they remember the God except little. Undulating between that, not to these, and not to these, and one he makes astray, the God, but not will you find to him a path. O you, those who believe, don't you take the rejectors, protectors from other than the believers. Do you want that you make to God over you an authority clear? Surely the hypocrites in the covering, the lowest from the fire, and not will you find to them a helper, except those who turn, and they write, and they hold with the God, and they make exclusive their way to God, but those with the believers. And soon he will bring the God, the believers, reward great. What will he do, the God, with your punishment, if you thank and you believe? And is the God thankful, knowledgeable? Not he loves, the God, the openness with the evil from the saying, except one wronged? And is the God listening, knowledgeable? If you announce good, or you hide it, or you pass over evil, but surely the God is passing over, powerful. Surely those they reject with the God and His messengers, and they want that they separate between the God and His messengers, and they say, we believe with some, and we reject with some, and they want that they take between that a path. Those, they the rejectors true, and we prepare to the rejectors punishment lowly. And those who believe with the God and His messengers, and not they separate between anyone from them, those, soon He will bring them their rewards, and is the God forgiving, merciful. They ask you, keepers of the book, that you bring down over them a book from the heaven. But had they asked Moses, greater from that. But they said, show us the God openly. But grabbed them the striking with their wrongdoing. Then they took the calf from after what came to them the clarities. But we passed over that, and we brought Moses authority clear. And we raised above them the mount with their promise, and we said to them, enter the door prostrating, and we said to them, don't you transgress in the Sabbath, and we took from them promise strict. But with what they're breaking their promise, and their rejection with signs of the God, and they're killing the prophets without truth, and they're saying, our hearts unaware, but shut the God over them with their rejection, but not they believe, except a little. And with their rejection, and their saying over Mary, an enormity great, and their saying, surely we killed the Messiah Jesus, son of Mary, messenger of the God, and not they killed him, and not they crucified him, and but appears to them, and surely those who differ in him, to be in doubt from him, not to them with it from knowledge, except following the thought. And not they killed him, surely, but raised him the God to himself, and is the God mighty, wise. And if from keepers of the book, except to their surely believing with him before his death, and day of the standing, he will be over them a witness. But with wrongdoing from those who Jews, we forbade over them good allowed to them, and with their stopping over path of the God much, and their taking the usury, and had they been stopped over it, and their eating wealth of the mankind with the wrong, and we prepare to the rejectors from them punishment grievous. But the seekers in the knowledge from them, and the believers, they believing with what sent down to you, and what sent down from before you, and the making constant the prayer, and the bringers of the purity, and the believers with the God, and the day, the later, those, soon we will bring them reward great. Surely we inspire to you, like what we inspired to Noah and the prophets from after him, and we inspired to Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the tribes and Jesus and Job and Jonah and Aaron and Solomon, and we brought David psalms and messengers. Have we explained them over you from before? And messengers, not we explained them over you, and spoke the God to Moses, speaking. Messengers, informers and warners, to surely not there being to the mankind over the God contention after the messengers, and is the God mighty, wise. But the God, He witnesses with what sent down to you, it sent down with His knowledge, and the angels, they witnessing, and enough with the God witnessing. Surely those who reject and they stop over path of the God, have they strayed, straying far. Surely those who reject and they wrong, not He will be the God to His forgiving to them, and not to His guiding them a tract, except tract of hell, living perpetually in her forever. And is that over the God easy? O you, the mankind, has come to you the messenger with the truth from your Lord. So believe, better to you. And if you reject, but surely to God, what in the heavens and the earths, and is the God knowledgeable, wise. O keepers of the book, don't you mix in your way, and don't you say over the God except the truth. Surely what the Messiah Jesus, Son of Mary, messenger of the God, and His Word, through her to Mary, and Spirit from Him. So believe with the God and His messengers. And don't you say, 3, stopping better to you. Surely what the God, God one, glory Him, that it be to Him sons, to Him what in the heavens, and what in the earths, and enough with the God disposing. Not He averse, the Messiah, that He be a servant to God, and not the angels, the close ones. And one, He averse over His servitude, and He arrogant, but soon He will gather them to Himself altogether. But of what those who believe and do the righteousness, but He will complete them their rewards, and He will add them from His grace. And of what those who averse and they arrogant, but He will punish them, punishment grievous, and not will they find to themselves from other than the God inheritors and not helpers. O you, the mankind, has come to you evidence from your Lord, and we send down to you a light clear. So of what those who believe with the God and hold on with Him, but soon He will admit them in mercy from Him and grace, and He will guide them to Himself a highway constant. They consult you, say, the God, he counsels you in the airless. If one killed, not to him children, and to him a sister, but to her half of what left. And he inherits her, if not it be to her children. But if they be two, but to them both the 2/3 from what left. And if they be siblings, men and women, but to the male example of portion of the 2 females, he clarifies the God to you that you stray, and the God with everything knowledgeable.